Hello everyone, hope you guys have been having a good day. Today I'll be talking about Alexander the Great in India and the impact that he had on Indian culture. To learn about Alexander the Great in India, we must first learn about who Alexander the Great was. Alexander the Great was born in Macedonia as the son of King Philip II. As a child, he was taught by one of the greatest philosophers of all time, Aristotle, and after his father was assassinated, he became king of Macedonia at the age of 20. He had only one goal in mind, conquering the world. When he initially became the king, there was plenty of fighting within his own land, so he had to extinguish that by putting down a rebellion and asserting himself as the one and only king. A famous story of Alexander the Great that began his epic was the story of the Gordian knot. This knot was said to be the greatest knot ever, and only the man who would conquer Asia could untie it. Of course, Alexander had to take his shot at it, and instead of untying the knot, he famously took his sword and sliced it in half. By slicing the knot in half, he established himself as a force to be reckoned with. Following this story is his first real battle, which was the Battle of Issus, where he faced King Darius and the Persian army. His troops were outnumbered 100 to 1, but the loyalty and the determination of his troops led to victory and struck fear into King Darius's heart. So much so that he would end up abandoning his wife, his children, and his mother on the battlefield. His most famous conquests are yet to come. He later entered Egypt, conquering much of it and establishing himself as not only a great military strategist, but also as a great king. He was a king who gave back his earnings to the people, allowing many cities to greatly develop. One such example is named after him, Alexandria, a city you can still visit today in modern Egypt. Through these conquests, King Darius was cowering more and more, practically begging for mercy from Alexander. But Alexander always declined. Eventually, the two met and King Darius was defeated. With this victory, Alexander took over the Persian Empire, nearly doubling his empire. His goal was almost complete. The conquering of the known world had one last obstacle: India. Initially, Alexander was steamrolling through India, conquering many small villages. That was until the unstoppable force, Alexander, faced the immovable object, his greatest rival, King Porus. King Porus was the overlord of the area now known as Punjab. He led a great many different kingdoms and had a very strong army. The two sides met on opposite sides of a river. The battle that would ensue would later be known as the Battle of Hydaspes. The battle itself was brutal. The Greeks used technology to their advantage as they had better armor and were better suited for distance. King Porus's army used their numbers to overrun the Greeks and war elephants to wreak havoc. The battle could have gone either way, but Alexander won the battle on that day. But watching Porus fight had inspired Alexander, so Alexander asked Porus how he should treat him. And Porus said Alexander should treat him like a king. Alexander did exactly that, and King Porus remained the king of his lands. The battle took a great toll on the Greek army. They had been constantly warring for too long and were tired and homesick. So, this battle marked the end of Alexander's conquest of the whole world, and the Greek army returned home. Alexander the Great did many things to help benefit India. Before he fought King Porus, there were many small kingdoms. Those small kingdoms, and he combined them into one big kingdom, which ended up being very successful for the people and also the rulers. Another big thing that he did was effectively connect the Western world and the Eastern world. This is by far the biggest impact that he had on India. This connection allowed the two sides of the world to connect with each other and allowed them to trade with each other, something that would be very profitable for many Indian merchants. The reason being is that this is sort of the beginning of the spice road, a trade route from Europe to the Eastern world, primarily India and China, that imported goods from the East into the West. These goods included gold, spices, silk, and other luxuries that were only found in China and India. And that is all for today. Thank you guys for your time and hope you have a great day.